Hi there, I'm TheFarmerJ, and welcome back to Jay Plays Every Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons game. This is the series where, you guessed it, I play every Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons game. Today's video is about Harvest Moon Game Boy, which was developed by Victor Interactive Software. Harvest Moon Game Boy was released in Japan in December of 1997 and in August of 1998 in the US. Very soon after that, in December of 1998, it was released for Game Boy Color in the United States, and it appears that it released around that time in Europe as well. From everything I could find, the Game Boy Color version did not release in Japan. The Game Boy Color version is the same game as the version that originally released on Game Boy, it's just in color. For the rest of this video, I'll mostly be using footage from the Game Boy Color version. In my research for this video, I also learned that you could play Harvest Moon Game Boy Color with a Super Game Boy attachment on the SNES. When you play the game this way, there's a special frame around the game as you play. Also, I can't speak to how this game ran on any original hardware, since I played on an emulator on the computer. I did also play the game on a handheld emulator shaped like a Game Boy, which was super fun. Harvest Moon Game Boy received fair reviews at the time of release, with reviewers discussing the game's charming, though overly simplistic nature. Like the original Harvest Moon for SNES released the year prior, the basic premise of the game is that you have inherited your grandfather's farm and must improve it. The goal overall in the game is to achieve the title of Ranch Master. In order to achieve the title of Ranch Master, you must care for your animals, ship many crops, collect a certain amount of power berries, amongst other requirements. This is more of an overview than a walkthrough, so I recommend checking out the FOGU website. I'm not sure FOGU or how to pronounce it, but if wanting more specific info about things like this. After 1 year, your little spirit grandpa returns to evaluate the farm. Whatever you have done throughout the year, he will inform you that he will expand the farm and you are given a bit more space to use. This next bit is a bit beyond the first year, so I won't go too in depth because I didn't play it much myself, but there's a spot in the expanded land that you can till with the hoe to find a power berry. That 6th power berry is why you can't technically win the title of Ranch Master in the first year, since having at least 6 is a requirement. Since fishing and mining are big parts of future games, I'll briefly speak on them here. After your second year, if you meet the Ranch Master requirements, Spirit Grandpa will give you a fishing pole which you can use in the cave area to catch fish. And then, after your third year, you'll get a pickaxe which can then be used to smash some boulders in the cave to get more power berries. I wouldn't consider either of these mechanics to be major parts of this game since they're not even possible in the first year, but I figured I'd mention them. And as far as the other Harvest Moon staple, cooking, all you can do is confirm the origin of fire. Not gonna lie, I was happy to see that again. It's like an old friend. You can buy food from the restaurant in town, or buy drinks from the bar, and your character will automatically use them at different times of the day to restore stamina until they run out. In case you haven't noticed from the video by now, this game is extremely similar to the original Harvest Moon for SNES. There are some major differences though. Harvest Moon Game Boy does not have any romance, friendship, or child-raising mechanics at all. The bachelorettes from the first game make reappearances as shop owners, and there are occasional scenes where they come to visit your town. This lack of social interaction makes this game a lot more streamlined and almost arcade-like. You rush through each day trying to complete your chores and make as much money as possible to satisfy Spirit Grandpa. Like the SNES game, your main tasks are to clear the stumps, weeds, and rocks from your farm, raise chickens and cows, and grow and harvest crops. And you also gradually unlock better versions of your tools. Something very weird in this game is that the type of seeds you have access to depend on your name. If you start your name with a lowercase letter, you can grow peanuts in the fall and broccoli in the winter. If you start your name with a capital letter, you can grow eggplants in the fall and carrots in the winter. And if you start your name with a symbol, such as a heart, you have access to all 4. That's why I spelled my name that way. I wasn't just desperate to feel loved despite having no romance mechanics in the game. Anyway, in addition to the weird name-dependent fall and winter crops, you have the standard turnips and potatoes in the spring and corn and tomatoes in the summer. It's also pretty cool in this game that you can plant crops in the winter, since the majority of games in this series don't let you do this. It's also a big improvement to have fall crops in this game compared to the SNES original where there are none. And raising chickens and cows in this game is nearly identical to the SNES version, but you can only have 4 of each in the Game Boy game compared to 12 in the original. You also get the horse much earlier in this game and can similarly buy saddlebags for it when it's fully grown, so you can use it as a portable shipping bin on your farm. There is one major change with the animals in this game. You can have a pet cat. I was raised with dogs, but I've had cats in adulthood, and I consider myself a cat person, so I was surprised and happy to see you could have a cat in this game. I want to end the overview section by discussing some things that I would consider upgrades. You can choose to play as a female character, which is awesome to see since it's only the second game in the series, and many of the later games don't let you do this. One weird thing is that you start out with some free seeds in the shed if playing as a female character, that you don't get if playing as a male character. Another small change that's helpful is the ability to show the time of day and what tool you have equipped. I forgot to mention this in the SNES video, but in the original game, you didn't even start out with a clock and could possibly miss out on even getting one if you didn't upgrade your house early enough in the playthrough. I didn't have the clock and tool display feature on for most of this video because it looks better without it, but if I was just playing for fun, I would definitely have that on. Alright, have some music before the conclusion. Hopefully it doesn't break your eardrums like the SNES ones. The music is essentially the same as the SNES ones, but made to play on the Game Boy, of course. And I generally did have the sound off while playing. So, I've actually played this game twice. I first played it on a handheld emulator before deciding to start this video series. I believe I played for almost 2 years, and I remember having fun with it. In a very 2025 fashion, I'd sit down and watch a show while playing the game on the handheld. But when I went to replay it on the computer to record footage for this video, I got bored. The tedious nature of the game grew as I played, and by the middle of fall, I just started sleeping a bunch to skip days so I could get closer to the end of the first year. I don't know if that's a common experience for anyone else, but I remember doing that a lot as a kid to get to the end of a year in a wonderful life. Maybe it's natural to just feel ready to move on from these games at a point. The mind can crave stability and variety at the same time, so why not move to another similar but slightly different game when you're no longer having fun? Now for the final question. Would I recommend playing 1 year of Harvest Moon Game Boy and Game Boy Color? For the original Game Boy? No, unless you have nostalgia for the color palette. I don't. For the Game Boy Color? Maybe. This might sound weird because I included some negative critiques here, but it's nice to have a more streamlined version of the SNES game where you can just see how much money you can earn. Yeah, it's repetitive, but like a lot of cozy games, sometimes the repetitive actions can be calming. I'd say it's definitely worth giving this a shot if you have a handheld emulator device, but it's not as engaging if you're sitting down in front of a computer monitor or TV. The original Harvest Moon for SNES is a much more visually appealing experience, in my opinion. But this game does get points for Spirit Grandpa. This has been TheFarmerJ. Next time I'll be playing Harvest Moon 64. Thank the Harvest Goddess for a less annoying to say name. I'm hoping to stick to a bi-weekly upload schedule, so stay tuned. Have any of you played Harvest Moon Game Boy or Game Boy Color? What did you like or dislike about them? Tell me in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more, consider subscribing. See you next time.